This is a button. You did up a row of them this morning, without once looking at your hands. It destroyed the people who made it. Children worked the factories that replaced them, breathing bone dust off the floor. But it began in Dorset in 1750, stitched by hand by women, one at a time. They called it the cartwheel button. Then a machine arrived. It made one every 4 seconds and the trade was gone. We're starting in the wrong place. The button is 5,000 years old. The oldest button found is 5,000 years old. Not shell, not ivory, bone, from an animal. It was not decorative. It was survival engineering. The same buttons, Baluchistan, Minoan Crete. In a Bronze Age grave in Dorset. Same county. The button had not moved. None had holes for thread, loop fasteners. The modern button was not invented. It was reinvented. Germany, around 1200. Someone cut a hole through cloth. The button had another history, an older one. Before the button, no garment could follow the body. By 1250, the Guild was already regulating them. 3 sources, 3 cities, 3 different years. One says 1200, one says 1250, one says Seville. Nobody agrees. The button has never clarified the matter. By the 16th century, it was everywhere. Everything before 1851 was handcraft. The machine changed the arithmetic. 1 machine, 4 buttons per second, bone dust on the floor. The Dorset cottage industry had been running for 300 years. Within 18 months of the machine's arrival, it was gone. 13,000 workers, most of them women, most of them children. The Board of Trade documented it, carefully and at length, then filed it. The button itself kept being made, elsewhere, differently. But bone was running out. Cattle, then horses, then whalebone. The button needed a new material, something that would not run out. The Mississippi River had it. Freshwater mussels, nacre, pearl buttons. The divers worked in pairs. By 1899, Muscatine, Iowa was the pearl button capital of the world. The river provided, the factories ran, the divers worked all season. Except, the mussels were not bottomless. By 1905, the Bureau of Fisheries found them functionally gone. The industry continued for another 20 years after that. The river has not recovered. The mussel was gone. Bone was running out. Whalebone was already regulated. In 1863, a billiard ball manufacturer put up $10,000 for an ivory substitute, any material that could replace it in full. John Wesley Hyatt was a printer in Albany. He was 30. He had no formal chemistry training. He worked in a shed. In 1868, he mixed collodion with camphor under pressure and heat. It held. He called it celluloid. It was the first industrial plastic on Earth. Bone, ivory, shell. He applied in 1868. U.S. patent 88,633. Surgeons began using it as a bone substitute. 27 years before Bakelite. While Bakelite took the name, celluloid built the world. The prize was disputed in court. The billiard ball manufacturer and Hyatt. The specification of ivory substitute was contested. What exactly did substitute mean? Hyatt's celluloid shattered at lower temperatures. Some billiard balls exploded on contact. This was briefly considered a feature. Clubs asked patrons not to smoke. The prize ran for 11 years. Not one ruling settled it. Then the committee ruled. The prize was technically invalid, withdrawn. He received nothing, not $1. The world called it Bakelite. Hyatt's name lasted 11 years, then stopped. He was not the only one. In Dorset. There is a woman in Dorset who still makes the cartwheel button. The same pattern, the same thread, the same worked stitch. The last commercial manufacturer stopped in 1972. The last machine that could make it was destroyed 3 years later. Nobody thought to copy the mechanism first. Neither is wrong, I think. The wrong thing is not noticing. The Dorset cartwheel button uses worked buttonhole stitch, the same stitch a surgeon uses to close a wound. Sarah Chalmers documented this in 1802. Her journal was never published. The pattern is in one book, the Simons-Taylor Pattern Book, published 1793. One woman in Dorset still knows the pattern. She learned it from her grandmother, who learned it from hers. 300 years from a book nobody published to hands nobody photographed. She had the button in her hand, the same one. Bone on the floor, a hand, nothing between them but time. The thread outlasts the object. It always has. The Podcat. The object is silent. The history is not. Subscribe.